Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aries. If Aries is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. There's this little tiny hovering fly right by my face. Oh, goodness. If it's not the cats, it's a fly that I let in today. Oh, no, they heard me. Here comes the kitty cats, too. Okay, so the card that we have for tonight's reading is the Tower. I know. But the good news about the Tower is that when you get a card like this, right, usually it's related to some kind of catastrophe, some situation that comes out of nowhere, can be devastating to the way that your life is configured at the moment. This could be some kind of loss, anxiety, pain, just just something that is not very, something that we don't really wish for, basically. And so, when you get a card like this, yes, it can be like, oh, okay, you kind of pause and think, oh, geez, what's going to happen now? The good thing about cards like the Tower or Death or the Hanged Man, in my opinion, is that this means that some kind of blockage in your life is going to open up, be pushed through, cleared out. Okay. It might not be easy. It might be a difficult process. Maybe it wasn't the way that you were hoping this would happen, but it's going to happen nonetheless. So it's in our best interest, usually, to prepare for this, right? Okay. So here I'm seeing kind of this person, and there's this person, there's a heart. We have another figure here that looks like they have some kind of walking stick. We have another person over here who looks like it's kind of kicking this heart. And so I get this impression that this is going to be something to do with, a desire. It doesn't have to be romantic love, or any kind of, family love or anything like this necessarily, but it is a desire. And I think because of the different grouping of people, it almost seems like this is very much a desire to kind of fit in among some kind of crowd of people, some group of people, maybe with one person who, with them, with a friendship, relationship with them, comes this other group of friends, peers, associates, whatever. I think that you've been trying very hard to kind of get into good standing with these people. What comes to mind is this saying, a place in the sun with them, right? So you are being graced by the light of their attention and acceptance and this kind of thing. Well, this is because, you know, there's like the novel and the movie too, A Place in the Sun, which I think had Elizabeth Taylor in it. Shout out to Elizabeth Taylor. She's I really, I don't know, I always, as a kid, would watch these old movies with my grandma, my great grandma, and especially during the summer, my parents would be working, and I'd be watching, you know, the old black and white movies and stuff, and I always loved Elizabeth Taylor so much. But anyhow, the idea of really trying very hard to get into this place where you know, your neighbors accept you, your work mates accept you, some cool person that you've met and you really, you know, want to hang out with them and their little group of people, or you've, you know, joined some kind of club or something, you know, you've gotten into something where there is an established friends group or peer group or whatever, and they are kind of cliquey, right? This has happened to most of us at some point in our lives. But I think that to some degree you have gone outside of yourself, your normal personality or behavior, to kind of fit in, right? And I think it's been taxing on you because it's just very performative in some ways. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, again, we all have done this, right? I've had definite, and this is probably why I don't really have a lot of friends now, because so much of my life, I feel like when I've gotten close to people, it's such a task to kind of not say the right things, or, I mean, not say the wrong things. I don't know what to say to people. I think that I talk about the wrong things. I feel awkward. You know, I'm just often not interested in the normal going and things that people kind of like to meet up to do together. Most of it I just don't want to. Also, it's expensive to have friends and know people. So that's another aspect of it all. So you know, I think that it's just you've been outside of yourself in some way. It's been hard. It's been tiring. And I feel like, honestly, it has not worked too well. Okay? I see this person kind of stumbling along up here, almost falling back on their back, right? Being kind of... And let's see, I wanted to go this way. And I see a lot of, there's a lot of motion in these. I also see a person that's kind of like, it feels like on their knees crying, right? I feel that there's been some real feelings of rejection, perceived rejection, sorrow. Okay. This hasn't been easy. It's not easy. It's never easy to put yourself out there and then, you know, and then it doesn't work the way that you want it to. I feel like this, you know, in some ways it feels like there could be some anger arising. Okay. And I think that this is really where that Tower comes in, is just having to let the thing burn down. But not partaking in, you know, the anger, the resentment. Letting it do what it's going to do. Those hopes, those desires, leave them unrealized. You know, let them kind of burn. All of these with their mouths just yelling, screaming. I feel, you know, even this one kind of down here on these arms up. It looks like there's even like an angel up here. But see, the thing for me, I'm looking at this and it almost feels like this like biblical loss. But it's not, you know, it's ultimately it's not. It's not. And I think that in reality, it is really something deeper, right? And this is often so much more about living in an inauthentic space, okay? For brief amounts of time. I'm not saying this is you all the time, right? But when we pretend in a way that is just so tiring and it doesn't work out, and you've tried, and they still just are not, you know, accepting, like that sucks. That sucks. But the reality is, I think the pain is so much less about these people not accepting you or not bringing you into their little world, and more about your own desire to live by your own will, your true self, to find a way to you know, build the confidence that it takes to just be what you are, who you are. You know, and I know, you know, this could be in relation to a lot of different things, and some of them make the world unsafe for people, and I understand that, and you know, I empathize with that. Of course, you know, I am very much a person that wishes for every single person to have peace in their life and the ability to just express themselves, be themselves, move about as they would like, while of course respecting other people's autonomy and expression. But I think really deep down what a lot of this is about is cultivating a place within your own life where you can just be what you want to be, who you want to be, what you need to be, right? And that's why I think, you know, it's very I look at this and it looks so biblical to me. And in just a way of calling out to the universe to kind of guide you, you know, to making these appeals, this feeling from like the core of your being, you know, meet me halfway, you know, universe, like help me find what I need, because I feel like there's such a place in my heart that needs to be filled, right? And you know, I think so often we try to find out things outside of ourselves, people, superficial kinds of love, lust, you know, just sensation. And in reality, you know, where we will find our truest guidance is within ourselves, within the self-work that we do. And you might ask, how do we do that? You know, it is unique to each of us. My proclivity for self-work is through, you know, the more of the Jungian paradigm. So if you are looking, maybe look into Jung. And that's Jung, Jung. And, you know, but that's just one system. And I, one of my favorite quotes, and I forget exactly who said it, but it is that there are as many ways to God or the divine, right, as there are souls on earth, as there are beings on earth or in the cosmos, right? So there are infinite ways, really. There's no wrong way. It's unique to each of us. But I do think that it can be troublesome when we are looking for others to fulfill our needs, especially our deep needs, our interior needs, the needs of our spiritual being, of our emotional being, of our, you know, of the health of our standing in this cosmic thing that we live within, right? Now, I see this heart. I see it looks, and it's interesting. I've had so many heart symbols this last week. And so, an anatomic kind of hearts, not just a heart symbol, right? So, I really believe that this is just kind of one doorway. It's like knocking over the wall that's been built in front of the door, you know, been plastered over, knocking it through, going through that doorway and strengthening your resolve, your sense of self, you know, not just taking up with whoever will have you. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. That road leads to pain, you know. And I always used to hate hearing this, but I was always told, you know, how does it go? You know, show me who your friends are and I'll show you who you are. And I don't think that's true all the time, but who you choose to spend your hours with, your moments in life, your precious, precious moments in life, that's so important. It's so important to who you are as a being. I mean, you know, we construct our sense of reality based on what's around us. That's why it's so important when you're like raising children, right? You have to foster their wonder, their curiosity, give them experiences, take them out into the world and see things, look at things, investigate. There's, you know, the nature around them, environment around them. Well, that doesn't stop when you get to some age, does it? I don't think so. And so here I see this beautiful goddess figure, kind of a very lunar, and I see this figure here, kind of standing, gazing up. And I see that it seems like a very beautiful devotional posture. And I really think that, you know, with a little adjustment, maybe a tiny bit of heartbreak, you're going to be all right. You're going to be just fine. You know, you're going to get refocused. You're not alone in this. It's hard to have friends out here. I can't even imagine, I don't even know how younger people who have grown up with the internet all their lives, how they even make friends anymore. I mean, you know, online, of course, but everybody is so involved in their little micro universes. It's hard to get to know people. Us older folks, we have it a little easier because a lot of us, you know, although like I had the internet when I was like 12, 13 years old, the first part of my life I did not. And I know what it's like to have to go out and make friends. You know, I know a lot of people who are older than me that don't even get on the internet. Barely can use their cell phones, you know. And so you have to kind of meet people out in the wild, right? And we fail to realize how hard it might be for the younger generation to know people. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind as well. Okay, and I just wanted to show this little tree. I see over here too, this kind of over here on this side, we have a little tree. It looks like a little statue, and I see this beautiful, it looks like some kind of, it reminds me of some kind of Roman looking person in like a flowing robe or a dress, and in this beautiful garden. And I just imagine kind of leaving behind the worries of the stress of the body being tense, consumed with, you know, what are they saying? What are they thinking? Why won't they return my calls? They left me on red. You know, all these things. Going outside, being in nature, being somewhere beautiful, and just letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. Look at these little tiny, you know, what's the word? Like little tiny universes, really, happening all around you. I like to sit on the ground with my daughter and we look at the ants. What are the ants doing? You know, and then we see, oh, there's a little pincher bug running through, and you know, we talk about the little stories. Oh, they're late for tea. We've got to get home, and looks like it might rain soon. And you know, what do you think? These two plants that are kind of growing towards each other, they must be friends, you know. And even without a child, I think it's so interesting to just look, and it's just this tiny little piece of the yard, you know. And there's so much. I mean, there's so much of it out there. You forget yourself in those moments for a minute, you know. You forget you remember yourself. You forget your problems. Just in your backyard, there's probably a million little things living their lives, going about their business, having their own problems, their own triumphs. You know, go look at that stuff. It's interesting. Okay, let's check this out real quick. We have a 4. We have a person with like a little box, a gift. And you know what? So I had a 4. I was out of focus. But we had 1, 2, 3, 4. They were all together. Okay. So we had 4. A 4. 4 is important this week. And now we have this person. It looks like they have a little gift. Okay. And this makes me wonder if somebody who is already a friend of some kind, an acquaintance, somebody who you have maybe kind of passed over as being somebody that might be important to your life, somebody who cares for you, thinks about you, you know, just is respectful and attentive. They listen to you. you know, you might know who I'm talking about as I'm saying this. And so I think it's maybe an opportunity to reach out to that person. Maybe there's something about them that's a little annoying, or I don't know, they just are not the most exciting person in the world or whatever. But I think that if you give them a chance, that they could be a good friend to you. And I think that, you know, that's a gift. And I think that happens so often in our lives. We have people who are ready to be good friends to us, and for some silly reason, unless it's like they're like off-putting and, you know, just really give you a bad vibe, of course, don't pursue that. But there are people who just are a little quirky, you know, maybe they're just into stuff we're not into or whatever. But maybe we give them a chance, you know, with our time and our own listening, our own respect, and that could be quite a gift, that friendship. Okay, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you, to spend this time with you. I am always so honored to bring these messages. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it's helping us get into the algorithm. And I say us because we are a community here and we are growing. We just hit 10K. Yay. So if you haven't already subscribed, please think about doing that, and we'll keep growing. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I try to get back to them as quick as I can. I do read every single one of them. I appreciate them. It means so much to me to hear from each and every one of you. Okay, I want to thank you, and we'll talk again very soon.